the focus of this is solely on the NSAS movement. I chose my term carefully here to say this is a movement. Now, the reason why we all gathered here is there is a dimension that has started evolving in the last couple of hours, where whoever that is trying to make this movement an ethnic movement. And we are here to say this is not an ethnic protest or movement. That we are here to say stop the propaganda to make it one, because that is not what it is. On that note, as I spoke to you on the phone, you now have the floor to make your presentation, Professor.
Okay, thank you very much, Mazi. Let me just make a little clarification in your introduction. I was a member of the Buhari Presidential Campaign Council 2015 and 2019, and even in 2011. And that was because of one's belief that based on his antecedents, that is one person that will do this country proud, being a man of discipline, a man of integrity. But I think the recent developments have proved us to be grossly wrong in our thinking. But that is by the way. The protests that are on, by any stretch of the imagination, cannot be described as an ethnic protest. This is a protest started by youths across the ethnic and religious divides who have been at the receiving end of police brutality in Nigeria, particularly in the southern part of the country. And those kids on the street, so well organized that I would say anywhere that they organize the best and most sophisticated protest in the history of this world. The way they organized themselves in terms of conducting themselves before the security personnel, the way they took care of those who needed food or who needed drink. When you are standing there in the sun, in the rain, from throughout, round the clock, you will need to refresh yourself. They made that available. Those who are brutalized, rescue, treatment, arrangements were excellent. A lot of them are PhD holders. Some of them have masters. Some of them are medical doctors, lawyers, engineers. They are people that understood what the stakes are, and they cut across all the ethnic divides. So nobody can come and tell us that it was an ethnic affair, or that it was the Igbos propelling it, or it was the Yorubas that were propelling it, or that a disgruntled politician called Tinubu was behind it, or anybody. These kids knew what they wanted. And what led them to that was clear. They cannot move around with a common device, a smartphone. Police will start opening their phones and then asking them to take them to the ATM. They could not move around with tablets. They could not move around with laptops. And it afflicted all of them, regardless of where they come from. So it wasn't an ethnic thing. But along the line, I observed that the powers that be were trying to divide them, and a lot of mischievous write-ups started surfacing on the internet. For example, they say, oh, you Yoruba, look at where this protest took place. The preponderance of the protest is in your area. Nothing is happening in Aba. Nothing is happening in Owerri, which is a lie. Look at miscreants. Those are sponsored people, though. They attack this newspaper. They attack that hotel. But go to Aba, go to Nnewi, nothing is happening. You should know that when you have a formidable movement, the establishment that you are fighting will not rest on its words. They are not going to sit by, because they know that you are trying to wrestle power out of their hands indirectly, because it will get to a point where something will have to give. So for that reason, they are not going to sit folding their hands. Didn't you see numerous footages making the rounds of people that look like security operatives dropping miscreants, holding machetes, holding sticks in strategic places to attack these same protesters? So please don't let us give this any form of, attach any form of seriousness to it at all. It was the establishment side of things to inject a kind of divide and rule propaganda, so that those who are protesting as brothers and sisters can then turn against themselves. Those who started this protest never started in a violent manner, but the miscreants that they were bringing, being sponsored, being given 1,500 naira from the people that seems to belong to a particular ethnic coloration, which began in Abuja, that were being brought to destroy cars, to machete girls. That was the ethnic angle to it. When they went to sponsor some miscreants in Abuja, they said they are the indigenous people of Abuja. These are people that don't even have a minister in the National Assembly, which is something they should be focusing, which have been fighting for, that they deserve it, that the federal government took their land to form a federal capital territory, doesn't mean that they should not have due representation. Instead of focusing that, they said they don't want anybody to come and protest on their land. Which land? So those are the ethnic dimension to this protest is purely the handiwork of the establishment.
Thank you very much for that intervention, Ngozi. What is going to happen now? I would ask Nnamdi Kanu to please unmute his iPad and to do the following. In the last couple of hours, my good brother, there has been broadcast making round. You know, when I say that something has gone viral, in the real sense of it, it has gone viral. This same broadcast of yours has been also being, again, we believe, misconstrued. The question and the reason why we converged here is for you. You are the one that made the broadcast. You are the one that we have invited. Can you please clarify that, so that, you know, if insinuations are wrong, then the whole world is watching us on this platform right now, so that those insinuations will be corrected. On that note, I will hand over to my good brother, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. You have the floor. Thank you.
Thank you very much for having me. Thank you very much. And the fact of the matter is this. First of all, I wish to...
Sorry, go ahead.
It can't be at this level.
Sorry, can you unmute yourself once more, please? Sorry about that.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, go ahead.
Thank you very much for having me. First of all, before I delve into the substance of the question you asked, I wish to, first of all, commend the sacrifice, the bravery, the forthrightness and formidability of Nigerian youth right across that very country at this moment in time, doing something that no other generation in Black Africa has been able to do. This is a moment in history that will be looked back on in many years to come as the time that the politics of ethnicity, the politics of tribe, the politics of religion was put to bed. You made reference to a clip making the rounds, which I can categorically tell you that yes, it is my voice. Yes, I made a broadcast a few days ago when young people were being slaughtered at Lekki Tollgate. And in that very speech that I made, it was very clear and unambiguous. But the people that cut and paste and put the clip together were trying to be very mischievous. Their intention is to try to infuse an element of tribe or ethnicity into the ongoing campaign to free young people from the bondage that Nigeria has become. And their intention, I believe, has failed very woefully. At no time, I must say, did I insinuate or say anything to convey the erroneous impression which they are now peddling that we were now taking over or control of Lagos State. I was live on air and somebody called, a Biafran for that matter, a young lady called from Lekki. They were under attack. And as a matter of fact, that very clip has been posted on my page, on my Facebook page. And I made it very clear that the fact that the Shia Muslims were slaughtered and nobody did anything, IPOB over the years have been slaughtered or are being slaughtered and nothing ever happened, that have now in a way given impetus to the government to do what they did at Lekki Tollgate. Unless you do not have a child, anybody who has empathy, anybody who has a child, anybody who is a parent, you will feel for what those people went through a couple of nights ago. And in the heat of the moment, enraged and angry that such a thing could be happening to those holding Nigerian flag and singing Nigerian national anthem, that spontaneous anger and rage within those survivors from Lekki Tollgate spilled out and became what you're now having today. It was the government that provoked it. We knew those who were involved and their names were mentioned, and the people took it upon themselves to exact revenge. That was exactly what happened. Now, listen to this. Somebody rang the program. That very person said they are calling from Oyibo. And as you well know, in Igbo child, that the white man miraculously named Port Harcourt, there is a place called Obibo, not Oyibo. I corrected the caller by telling the caller that you are calling from Obibo and not Oyibo. Do you know that these people twisted those words and said that I was referring to Oyimbo, somewhere in Lagos, that Biafrans are now intending or planning to take over a part of Yoruba land. And the world must understand this. When we started our agitation for Biafra, there was a lot of representations and a lot of people asked us to nationalize it, so to speak, to make it Nigeria-wide. And I said no for exactly what is happening today. If I am not allowed to intervene when Nigerian youths are protesting, that means there is no Nigeria in the first place. And the most shocking thing about it is that the people who are behind this very cheap propaganda are supposedly learned men and women. If you claim there is a place called Nigeria and something is happening in a part of Nigeria, and so to speak, another Nigerian from elsewhere is making an intervention, it could be positive, it could be negative. Are you now saying or implying that people should only intervene only when matters or issues affect where they come from? If that is the case, then the whole One Nigeria debate is a hypocritical one. That is what I want the world to take away from this. Now, at no time did I imply that any part of Yoruba land is being taken over by Biafrans. At no time did I imply that we are there to take over what our young people are doing on the ground. This protest, which has now turned into a revolution, was spontaneous as a result of years and decades of brutality of the state against innocent young people, ostensibly from the South.
Thank you.
We have not made any attempt whatsoever. We have not made any attempt whatsoever to immerse ourselves in the process that they are now going through in order to accomplish what they have set out to accomplish in the first place. What we merely did was to give our widows might, to direct them as to the best things to do. that very state called Nigeria have been involved in the killing of their young people, not just robbing them of their dreams, but killing them quite literally. And something needs to be done about it. And we are doing something about it. What else I find very shocking and distressing is this. We have now forgotten about those that lost their lives at Lekki. We have now forgotten about those who were drenched in blood and the green, white, green flag of Nigeria soaked in the blood of the innocent. We are now talking about tribe and ethnicity from people that should know better, from people who over the years have been telling us about the virtues of one Nigeria and the need to sustain a sense of pride and nationalism within each and every citizen. All of a sudden, they have become very parochial. All of a sudden, they have withdrawn into their tribal shells. And that is very, very distressing. And it is not in a good place for any of us to be in. Right now, our focus is to encourage our young people to be law-abiding, to protest, which they have a right to, and to ensure that all the demands they have set out is being met by the government. And anything we can do in that regard to accomplish the results for which these young people trooped onto the streets and have sacrificed their lives for is what we are going to do. We are not going to be deterred. Hausa, Igbo, Yoruba, Efik, Zon, everybody is there. Gwari, everybody is there out on the streets protesting and asking for a better society. So this very nonsensical ploy to try to infuse tribe into it, it has failed already, and it will continue to fail. We are no longer going to be divided. Everybody is suffering, and we have now come together to say we must put an end to it. They can try all they like. As the professor said, they unleashed their thugs in Abuja. Was that IPOB? They were holding Jericho rifles supplied by Israeli government to fight Boko Haram. They gave it to their thugs in Abuja to go out and kill people. That is very, very sad. That is what we are fighting against. The government is the problem. The state is the problem. Those who support this edifice of corruption called Nigeria, they are the problem. They are now playing the ethnic card. They never believed that something, this monumental revolution would have happened in their time. It is now happening, and they have to live with it. There is only one solution: meet the demands of the young people. Then they will go back home. If you do not meet it, they will remain on the streets until victory is assured. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for that intervention. Now, before I come back to Chief Femi Fani-Kayode, now I want you to, because you have made it very, very clear that in your own words, at the heat of the moment, these are the words that I have noted down. At the heat of the moment, those calls or those comments were made. Can you please, in the interest of our people, now, for those that have listened to your initial message that might not have the opportunity, that we are giving the opportunity now, can you please rephrase or make your stand explicitly clear? Thank you.
My stand is that I support our young people, I support the protesters, and I also support the right of people to express their views without it being distorted. As I've said before, they cut out what I said and then quoted me out of context. If you want to know what I actually said and the context within which I made those statements and comments, you need to listen to the entire broadcast. It is called perspective, so that people can understand where we're coming from. Them cutting it this very way, they were very upset that Bola Ahmed Tinubu jumped ship and ran away from Lagos. That's entirely their prerogative. But one thing we are fighting against is corruption at all levels, regardless of who is involved. Regardless of who is involved, corruption will be fought. It doesn't matter if they're Igbo, if they're John, it doesn't matter if they're Ibibio, it doesn't matter where you come from, corruption must be fought by everybody. When people try to ethnicize it, that becomes the problem of Nigeria. And that is what our young people are fighting this very day.
Thank you.
Go
very
and
much.
listen to what I said. I am against violence of any sort. We are in alliance with Yoruba people. I love Yoruba people very, very much. I would not dream of intervening in the affairs of Yoruba people. I am a Republican. I am from Ibeku. Even in Omaha, you have Ohoho, you have Obaka, you have Olokro. I will not be allowed, even myself, to go to Obakala.
Mobilized, and then they now started.
Sorry, can you please, can you once more, I know, can you please once more unmute yourself because someone, yes. Okay.
Thank you very much.
I have a question. I hope I have the chance to ask Nnamdi Kanu a question.
Excuse me, I will boot you, Nnamdi Kanu, please, can you hold on a moment? I will boot you out of this meeting. I've said at the beginning, if you have any question, raise your hand. Do not unmute yourself. It is very distracting when someone is speaking and someone else is interjecting. Please, if you do it again, I will put you out of this meeting. Thank you very much. Please.
Sorry about that.
Yes. Sorry, my brother.
May I proceed?
Please proceed.
Thank you very much. What we are saying is this. It doesn't matter. The problem of Nigeria is that when somebody from your tribe or your ethnicity is corrupt, you try to protect them. I am against it. I am against it, and I will fight against it. And I believe that is what the young people are fighting against right now out on the streets and sacrificing their lives in the process. I hate it. It is very, very cheap, condescending, and unbecoming of people who claim that they are learned. What we are fighting for is an equitable and just society and a future that not just ourselves, our children, but the whole of Africa will be proud of. And these brave young people now out on the streets are doing exactly that, and we must support them. If you kill them, you become my enemy. I don't give a damn who you are. Once you kill these young people, it doesn't matter if they're Hausa, if they're Fulani, if they're Bachama, if they're from anywhere in Nigeria. Once you kill them, I will despise you. I have been at the forefront of campaigning for justice for Shia Muslims. I am not a Muslim. I am not Shia. And I'm not from Southern Kaduna or from the north, as the case may be. But I have been fighting for them, and I will continue to fight for them. What I'm saying, I was quoted out of context. What I said was taken away bit by bit from the broadcast. They did their cut and paste to make it sound very horrible, to gain a greater perspective and insight into what I actually said. And under the circumstances which I said them, you must listen to the entire broadcast. And I have this to say, all of them trying as much as they can to infuse ethnicity and tribalism into this brave work that our young people are doing, they have failed on arrival. That is how Nigeria behaves. They need to, something they learned from Britain, unfortunately. They must divide you to conquer you. They now know that the South is very strong. They now know there is no enmity or any issues between the Yorubas and the Igbos, the Oduduwas and Biafrans, and they are doing all they can to engender one. They want to start a problem so that this very protest, this very revolution will collapse, but they have failed because people are now wiser and they are more sensible. Do you think that I will ask? My father was a traditional ruler before his demise. Are you telling me that I will give orders to people to go to the Oba of Lagos residents to go and try to desecrate it? I will not even dream about it. I won't even think about it. As I was saying before, we were somehow distracted. I am from Ibeku, in Omoahia. In that same Omoahia, there is a home. In Omoahia, there is Omoapara. In Omoahia, there is Nsirimo. In Omoahia, there is Obakala. I cannot leave Ibeku and go to Obakala and tell them what to do without them inviting me to do so. Therefore, I can never, ever. And to be honest with you, if in any way, shape, or form, what you've heard have somehow conveyed an erroneous impression of what I was saying, then I do apologize for that. But what I'm trying to say to people and what I need them to understand is this. Corruption must be fought. It doesn't matter who is involved, their tribe. The same thing that Fulani Janjaweed are doing with Buhari is what some of these people are trying to do with Tinubu. The same thing, and you're talking about a good country, a good Nigeria, whereas you are being very tribalistic about issues. In fact, I'll be very, very happy if somebody else from any other ethnic group can come and be as vocal and as vociferous as to what is happening to Biafran people. Our men were killed in 2016, a lot of them at Mpo. And might I also correct one other misleading impression that these people, these criminals may have about what we are trying to accomplish here. I use the word our people all the time, or our men. We are all in this together, everybody. If you want a better society, if you want a better existence, if you want a better experience of life, you must support what the young people are doing. And I refer to them as our people, and they became very angry. I think some of them are slightly, should I say, envious or jealous that youths are listening to us and they are doing what they are asked to do. I think it's a bit of envy and jealousy, and the need to divide the South. They have failed. They cannot succeed. There is no problem between the East and the West. Between the East, the West, which is the South, and the Middle Belt, none whatsoever. And these haggard old criminals cannot succeed. They've tried this nonsense in the past. They succeeded. They divided Awolowo and Nnamdi. They cannot do it now. They cannot do it with this generation of 2020. They cannot do it because freedom beckons, and we are going to commit all we have to ensure that our children have a better future. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Let me just first of all commend the courage of Nnamdi Kanu, together with all the other freedom fighters in this country and those that have stood up for the downtrodden. I don't really see what the fuss is about concerning the statement.
Sorry, go ahead.
I'm not hearing very second.
It appears that there's an interruption on the broadcast.
Please,
can you hear me?
All the co-moderators, whoever unmutes with us, please remove that individual, please. Thank you. Go ahead.
Can I proceed? Yes.
Yes.
So
please.
let me again start by commending the courage and the resilience of Nnamdi Kanu, together with his IPOB members, and also so many other freedom fighters in this country and people that have fought for the liberation of their people. It's very, very clear to me that what has happened in Lagos, and indeed all over the country, is something that cannot be stopped and cannot be resisted. And it's a collective. Lots of people from different groups, different backgrounds, different tribes, saying enough is enough. And for me, that's a good thing. What I don't want, and what I don't believe in, is anarchy, though. And I think it's very, very important that this protest, this resistance, continues to be peaceful, and it shouldn't degenerate into anarchy, because that will not help anybody at all. In terms of the comment that my brother made, you know, I, for example, have spoken on many occasions when it is that people from the Southeast particularly, or Northern Christians, or even core Northerners, or even from the Niger Delta area, have been killed and slaughtered. And they have been killed and slaughtered over the last 5 years by either government agents or militias sponsored by the government, like the Fulani herdsmen and so on and so forth. And I, as a Yoruba man, have spoken against that. And I've also condemned people, leaders from the East, from the North, and so on and so forth, without sparing any of them when these things are done to those people. So I really don't see what the problem is when a situation occurs in the Southwest and our own people are being slaughtered by security agencies, when people from the outside show legitimate concerns about mass murder and the slaughter of children who are simply protesting for their rights. And somebody from outside the Southwest now says, well, this is wrong, and perhaps gets a little bit upset and says one or two things he may not have said in terms of targeting people out of anger. And then somebody now tries to turn it into another narrative to make it look as if he's trying to infiltrate the Southwest, and then to go as far as to say that the whole thing are Igbos against Yorubas. Nothing could be further from the truth. This is not an ethnic struggle, what's going on right now. This is an uprising. It's like a revolution against the tyranny of this government and the tyranny of those that control this government. And there are some identifiable faces behind those that control this government. We can't run away from that. We have people like Tinubu who are involved, people like Buhari himself, some of the governors have collaborated, and these people are perceived as collaborators with oppression. So it's perfectly natural for those that have been oppressed and killed over the years to say, look, we have had enough. And they begin to call names. It's perfectly natural. Having said that, let me also say this. It's very, very important for us to recognize the importance of having a union. And when I say that, a collaboration between all of us that are oppressed, the Southwest together with the Southeast, for example, and I'm glad about the handshake across the night that took place in 2018, where we all came together. I'm also glad of the fact that the Middle Belt and the South-South have joined that initiative, and we're all operating with one accord. I'm glad that elements in the Core North itself have also joined us in many respects to say there must be change, there must be the right of self-determination, there must be referendums, and we must be allowed to determine whether or not this country ought to remain one and whether we want it to remain one. But what we are faced with right now is slightly different. And what it is this. What is going on is that the youth particularly have said enough is enough. And it doesn't surprise me. There's nothing that is happening today that I did not say would happen in 2015 if Buhari took power. If you go and check what I said, that there will be ethnic cleansing, there'll be mass murder, there'll be genocide, there'll be domination by the Fulanis against everybody else, will be oppressed, will be suppressed, and the country would fall apart. And that's exactly what has happened. And unfortunately, people didn't listen at the time. Well, we're all in it now, and we all have to face it. And what is unfolding is the unraveling of the Nigerian state. If there isn't some form of compromise in terms of restraint by the government, and if these games continue, I'm assuring you things will get far worse. And let's look at what really happened in Lagos, because that's a case study. I could talk about things that have happened, in other parts of the country, because as a Yoruba man, I'm a little bit sensitive to the fact that why is it that the whole...
Go ahead.
So the whole country has suddenly come alive now, is complaining about oppression. The whole world is talking, rightly so, NSAS. But look, 2 years ago, IPOB youths were slaughtered. They were slaughtered as if they were nothing but chicken. A couple of years back, 3-4 years ago, Shia Muslims were slaughtered. A couple of years back, Northern Christians were slaughtered. And this has been going on for 5 years all over the country. It's now come to our territory. And now we've finally woken up. And in those days, when we made noise, people say, oh, you're an alarmist. You shouldn't talk about these things. Don't worry about it. It's not affecting your own people. Well, it's come home now. It's affecting us in the Southwest as well. And we knew it would happen. Now, this one is rather different. A situation where soldiers will barricade kids, surround them, trap them in, cut off all the CCTV cameras, put out the lights, and the kids sit on the floor and begin to sing the national anthem and cover themselves with the Nigerian flag, and without offering any resistance at all. And the soldiers simply point their weapons at them and begin to shoot at them, like they're shooting at rabbits in a cage. That is where we are in Nigeria today. And what happened? After they killed a few of them, the military authorities ensured that ambulances and helicopters could not get into the area because they didn't want people to know how many people had been killed, and they were trying to hide bodies. And this is what happened. And when it was all over and there was blood on the streets, people started shouting. Well, what happened since then? Nobody has come out to take responsibility. We don't even know which military officer led this team. Some say it was the senior officer, the Brigadier General Omata. Others say it's one Colonel Sage. We don't know. Nobody knows. The president has not spoken. Nothing has happened. This was genocide. This was mass murder. This was ethnic cleansing, because those people there were Nigerians, and the Nigerians are one, at least they were one. They were not just one tribe. Across tribal lines, they were slaughtered, children, and nothing has happened. President hasn't spoken. Now, that impunity and that wickedness and that cruelty is what other people have been experiencing throughout this country over the last 5 years since Buhari came in. Christmas Day 2016, Christmas Eve and Christmas Day, 800 people were slaughtered in their homes, including babies, by Fulani herdsmen in Kaduna, southern Kaduna. Nobody cared. Nobody said anything. Shia Muslims, they said 300. 1,000 were killed in one go. Nobody cared. Nobody said anything. IPOB youths, I go back to them, slaughtered every day. Nnamdi's house, Nnamdi Kanu's house, raided, people killed, even dogs killed. This is what has been going on for 5 years, and nobody cares. Look, I went to the core north recently on a trip, and I'll tell you what I discovered. I discovered that Zamfara State, more people were being killed in Zamfara State on a daily basis than any other state in the Federation, 300 to 500 per day. I was amazed. The same in Sokoto. So everybody's feeling this thing, this tyranny that Buhari has foisted on all of us. And what is happening today is a resistance to that. And I'm saying that I pray to God, we keep it peaceful, we keep focused, and we keep saying that, yes, end SARS, but no, don't just end SARS, end tyranny, end tribal subjugation, end expansionist tendencies of one tribe against the other, and end the idea that we cannot sit down and talk about restructuring, and we cannot sit down and say we must self-determine. Every ethnic nationality in this country has the right to self-determine. And if we're going to stay together, let it be by choice. Don't let it be by force or by coercion. That is my view. And I'll end with this. If we don't restructure this country soon, this country will break up. And it'll be a very ugly breakup. That's number one. Number two, I'll also say this, just to round up. If the tyranny of Buhari continues, and if he refuses, I mean, listen, he has refused to address the nation. Traditional rulers are being chased out of their palaces. People are being killed every day. Mobs are roaming our streets. At least 23 states have imposed a curfew as we speak today. There is anarchy in the land. The police are going through challenges. The military has gone berserk. Everybody has gone crazy in this country. And our president has refused to speak. And you know what he's telling us by doing that? He's telling us that he doesn't care. And I sincerely hope he listens to this broadcast, because I know there's some people that are going to show this to him. And I'm saying you need to care. And you need to care fast. And if you have any doubt about the rage that people are feeling, remember this. Never has it been in our history the blood was spilt on the streets of the Southwest, particularly the Southwest. It's never happened in our history. The blood was spilt in the streets of the Southwest, and the government that was responsible for that spilling of blood lasted. It's never happened. 1966, there was a coup d'etat in this country because there was killing in 1964, and there was violence in 66, and that's when the first coup took place. May I continue? 1983, violence in the Southwest, our people were killed, blood on the streets, a coup took place. Again, it happened 1993. Again, an election was annulled. Violence took place, and people were killed on our streets. The government of the day, the president had to step aside. And there was turmoil up until 1999, when you now had to bring a Southwesterner out from jail, President Obasanjo, to be president. So it doesn't augur well. You've killed everybody, so many people in every zone of this country. Now you've brought it to the Southwest, and your soldiers did it. Until today, we have no names. Nobody has been arrested. No explanations have been made. So Olu is running around like a chicken telling lies, and nobody was killed. Tinubu is running up and down. They were the people that put this president in power. They have a responsibility to the people. They have a responsibility to us. They have a responsibility to the children that were killed to tell the truth and tell us what really happened. Nobody's talking, and we're supposed to accept it like that. Well, I don't believe in violence, but I do believe in one thing, that we must stand together, no matter what your views are, whether you believe in separation, restructuring, or even one Nigeria, which you believe can be saved by good leadership. Doesn't matter. What we have to do today is this: stand together with our youth and resist this tyranny in a passive way, and say enough is enough, and speak out and support those that are saying that they will not accept this violence and this tyranny and this subjugation anymore. And I'm very proud of the fact that we have people that are ready to do that. For the first time, probably in our history, you have British MPs of Nigerian origin. I listened to a young girl, some young British girl in the British Parliament, House of Commons, speaking out openly, attacking our government and saying enough is enough. We have people, Nigerians from all over the world in the diaspora, speaking out. We have world leaders speaking out. And most importantly, we have Nigerians themselves, across party lines, across ethnic lines, across religious lines, speaking out and saying enough is enough. I'm proud of that. I'm happy that it's come to this. Let's hope it stays peaceful. Let's hope at the end of it all, things go well for our country. That's my view, and that's my contribution.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Chief Femi Fani-Kayode, for that. I mean, obviously, one thing that has been very clear from the onset ab initio, irrespective of where you belong to, it doesn't matter if you want a new nation, or you are one Nigerianist, or you are a restructured Nigerianist. One thing is very clear. In Igbo, they say, the nation is not working. nation has not worked. So there is no way the status quo that we have today would continue. So something has to give way. On that note, I'm going to bring in Dr. Sam Amadi. Please, Dr. Sam Amadi, if you can unmute yourself and make your presentation quickly. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. I think I don't have much to say. I'm delighted that Nnamdi made a very clear clarification. And I'm also delighted that our brother and comrade Femi Fani-Kayode has reiterated the same thing. I see right from our days as student union leaders, NANS, and throughout, I started my career in Lagos, so I continue to see myself married. My wife speaks more Yoruba than Igbo. So I hate to see that these two very vital elements of the Nigerian transformation are something we cause a division among us. I'm very happy that Maazi has reiterated his statement, and from what I heard from him, and I believe him, he never intended to mobilize against Yoruba interests. I totally believe him. And I have already posted some of those snippets of what he said because they make sense to me. This is a revolutionary moment. And like two of them have said it clear, even though the protests, unfortunately, largely because of government, has become slightly chaotic and violent, but we should not further damage the prospect of this moment by any form of recrimination against ourselves. So all I want to say is that let's try and get these words out there to the people so that those who have investment and incentive to cause division as well of first destroying this moment and then creating complications that will further push us away from the kind of change that I hear both of them talk about. So I would end on the note that please, let's get the word out there. We are one. We are yoked together by destiny, by history, by association. And if we, East, West, and South, unite, it's not against any part of Nigeria, but I'm totally in support of the structural crisis that must be resolved through deeper democratization. And that's what this moment is all about. And so let no rhetoric, let no statement, every confusion, if people misrepresent anything Nnamdi Kanu says or Chief FFK, let them make effort to restate their position so that clarity is critical to moments like this. Revolutions require clarity, consistency, and coherence. That's all I would say. So I'm happy that this message has come out, and it's our job to take it all around so that our people will be rest assured. I've got calls from Lagos, from everywhere, from the Southeast, and say, look, I hope this is not a moment of rupture, but now I think it's a moment of convergence and strengthening of our common commitments and our historic ties. So thank you very much.
Mazi Obiosuji, please, not more than 1 minute. Go ahead and make your contribution. Unmute yourself and make your contribution, not more than 1 minute.
You hear me now?
Yes,
hello, can you hear me? Okay, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, I'm very, very pleased to have had this opportunity to have you make these clarifications. I think you're one of the most misunderstood individuals, and this includes me too. But having heard you today, sir, I want to really appreciate you. Can I just kindly please ask you for a favor, sir? I think you should be more visible and then more clear with your intentions. You do not understand, sir, how far what you have done today, how far it will go, particularly for the Igbos that you love so much. I tell you, sir, if not for this, it's not impossible that in days to come, Igbos' lives would have been at risk. I listened to the governor today. It was, in fact, the subtle comment he made during his interview with Arise Television. I would just suggest that, sir, if you can, go back to that interview with Arise Television. You'll find out that the so-called intelligence investigations that they want to do has to do with that particular clip, audio clip that came out. And with this, I think it does extension. So please, sir, if I can, if it's just a favor, please be more visible. Wherever you are, of course, with your life, we're trying to look after yourself. That's very important. But please, let us hear you and understand you clearly, very unambiguously. You are one of the most misunderstood people this side of planet Earth. I don't want to go into all that, so I don't take the time of other people. Meanwhile, well done, sir.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. I want to thank the entire Igbo nation. I want to thank the entire Yoruba nation. I want to thank the entire Igbo nation, the Middle Belt nation. I want to thank our Hausa brothers. I want to thank men and women of goodwill. I want to thank Mazen Nnamdi Kanu for his humility, for his godliness and openness. I want to thank Chief Femi Fani-Kayode, a great man, a lover of men and God. I want to thank Dr. Femi. On this note, I want the whole world to know that the Igbo nation and the Yoruba nation are inseparable. The Igbo nation and Yoruba nation are from the same ancestral heritage, right? We share so much in common. And God in his mercy was able to establish this when Nzukumuna was able to organize handshake across the Niger. For the first time in long history, the Yoruba leaders and elders, with our great father, Dadiwa, Ruparanti, Ayu Adebanjo, Iba Gani Adams, and all the great, even our great Oni of Ife, was able to move all the way from southwest to come and shake hands with the Igbo nation, with our leader, Chief Nnamdi. We want to thank, because this cannot come without love and understanding. Please and please, Mazen Nnamdi Kanu have shown the greatness in him by being so open to clarify things that were said that he didn't actually say that he was misconstrued. We want to thank God because we must not allow any genocide before our people again. The Igbo nation must not suffer for what he does not know about. The Yoruba nation and the Igbo nation are bonded. I want to thank God for the love and alliance that have come to exist between the Igbo and Yoruba. And now, Omoluabi, I am an Igbo man, at the same time I'm an Omoluabi. I want to speak to our Yoruba people. Please, the Igbo is your brother. I want to speak to the Igbo people. The Yoruba are your brothers. We must not come together. We must not come together to face the black community in the world. It's when the Igbo and Yoruba work in unity that black men, black people on earth, women and men, will restore their glory. God has positioned the Igbo and Yoruba to restore the glory of black people on earth. Let this distortion end. Let there be no war or conflict. Let there be no looting of Igbo people's shop. Let the Igbo people don't go on social media attack the Yoruba. This will never happen. We thank God for this meeting. We want to thank Mazi Izoke for also coordinating this meeting. I want to thank Nzuko Muna, who is the brain behind this. I want to thank Mazi Nnamdi Kanu and all of them for accepting to do this for humanity. Chief Fani-Kayode, we love you. So in conclusion, I want to thank all of you, both men and women of goodwill, press and young people. The EndSARS campaign, as a young person, I'm in my early 30s. As a young person, I can tell you for free that the young people are frustrated. People graduated 10 years, 20 years, there is no job. Politicians are walking around with so much. Why the people who they should be looking after are hungry, suffering? You cannot continue to run a country like that. And now let me now appeal to Mr. President with every form of humility. Mr. President, please show that you're a statesman. You've been a president before in 1983. You must now show that you are for all. In your inauguration statement, you said, I am for everyone, I am for just no one. Mr. President, please don't allow Nigeria to go up in flames. Please don't run a system that is only based on Fulanization. Show that you're a true lover of humanity. You're a president, you're a father. Mr. President Buhari, remember I came to your house in Kaduna with our film in 2011 to speak to you on why we need to bond together so that we can restore the glory of God in the land. Please, it breaks our heart to see that things are going this way. In conclusion, I want to appeal to all political actors. I want to appeal to men of goodwill. The least we can do is to say so that we can have an effective and efficient system. Let power be devolved. People are asking for self-determination. It is their right. People are asking for restructuring, it is their right. People are asking for good governance, it is their right. People are asking for end to police, it is their right.
Thank you very much, Ngozi Odumuko. I think much, Nnamdi. On that note, I would want to give the parting word to allow our brother, Nnamdi Kanu, who in his statement that has been misconstrued and the opportunity he has availed us to actually hear exactly what he intended by those statements. You see, it would have been a different thing altogether if he came up to this platform and reaffirmed those things, then it would have been a different thing. But here you can see, and we use the opportunity to call on everyone watching this program now, everyone that will watch the program thereafter, to note that the Igbos, or that no one has the intention to cause anarchy, because we all saw how this thing started NSAS. Many people, as many of you who watch me know, even in Anambra State, my home state, that we have in Okozo, where people are being killed. We have in 2009, 10, 11, 12, when in Ezu River, I think there was a time Nnamdi Kanu actually visited Ezu River. These are human beings that they shoot them, just pack them like sardines into a river, and they'll be floating on top. And when the youth said, it is our right to dress right, it is our right to actually be human, what they are asking, that is the basic fundamental in human life, the right to stay alive, the right to stay alive. Now, moving away and trying to move this whole basic right and basic demand that they've been demanding for the last 2 weeks, to say, oh, there is now an ethnic coloration to it, it is best can be described as very mischievous. On that note, Nnamdi Kanu, if you can please unmute yourself for your closing remark. Thank you very much.
Thank you, my dear brother. Thank you. I want to thank everyone who participated today, especially my dear friend and brother, Chief Femi Fani-Kayode, and even the professor that spoke earlier, and my dear brother, Ngozi Odumuko, and your good self for the excellent work that you've done and you will continue to do in time to come. I want to state very categorically that they will not succeed. They want to divide us. That's what they want to do. They've been playing these games before. The mistake that the Nigerian government and their backers made is to underestimate the intelligence and the resoluteness of our young people out there. They are all graduates, most of them. Some of them are even PhD holders. They are highly intelligent, very, very articulate, and they are savvy. They used SARS on us, it did not work. They used their thugs, it failed. They tried their lies, the usual narrative, it did not work. They used the army and they failed woefully. And we knew they were going to play the ethnic, the tribal game. That's what they've always done. That is how they have held us in bondage for 60 years, playing these same cards. But these people are now well learned, and they have realized that this nonsense can no longer continue. They will try religion. Religion is going to come. And I'm sure they're doing those things in Kanu as well. They're killing our people in Kanu State, and it will not work. Once we defeat them, now we have defeated their tribal card, it has failed. They will try one more religion. Once that fails, you will see that Nigeria will be a better place for everybody. We must remain very strong and very resolute. I will not, I repeat, I fight for people all over the world. I hate injustice. I would not knowingly denigrate nor look down on anybody or any group of people. It is not in my nature, and I will not do it. They can go and cut my speech and cut and paste it to try to make it sound very awful. As you have quite rightly reiterated, if you want to know the context under which I made those comments, please go and listen to the whole tape. We are in this together. It doesn't matter if you're Biafra, if you're Dudwa, if you're Middle Belt. It doesn't matter if you're Igbo, if you're Yoruba, if you're Hausa, if you're Fulani. We're in this together. We have defeated them. 2 more games that we'll play. In fact, there's only 1 more left. The tribal nonsense is dead today. They will play religion, and after that, you will have a beautiful Nigeria with 24 hours of electricity. I thank you very much, my dear brother. Thank you very much indeed. And to our listeners, thank you.
Thank you very much for that wonderful concluding thought. And on that note, I would say I would no longer keep us here more than necessary. I know many of you would want to say something, but please bear with us because the intention here is to use this opportunity to make clarifications and to assuage the minds of the people who suddenly have woken up and see their neighbor that they've lived in peace for decades, if not centuries, suddenly look at them as those that want to take up their land. No one, no Igbo person is interested in taking up anything anywhere. And please, we must note this. Those of you who are still sharing the old clip, please cease from doing that. Now you have the most up-to-date clip to share, make this go viral where you can now tell those naysayers to say, look at what Nnamdi Kanu has said. He has actually said, and rather, he has actually apologized by saying, if, that is conditionality, if you have misconstrued what he said or the intent in that statement, please forgive. On that note, I will say he is forgiven, and we all will now march forward to demand to be treated better, and we demand that the nation must be governed better. On that note, I will say thank you very much for being part of this conversation this afternoon. May God bless us all once more. I remain Mazi Tochukwu Ezoke.